It's time to get inside the Giants huddle.
Let's go, back to your huddle.
On Giants.com.
Tempo.
And the Giants mobile app.
Go.
Part of the Giants podcast network.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Giants huddle. I'm Paul Dottino. Today we speak with former tight end Howard Cross to remember former Giants head coach Jim Fassel, who passed away June 7th at the age of 71. He directed Big Blue from 1997 through 2003, including the most difficult circumstances following 9/11-2001. Cross remembers.
It was overwhelming. Coach had a lot more than what, I think the public kind of looks at it as, a team of record and a lot of great words there, but it had a lot to do with, if you think about grief counseling, trying to have people, how they're going to deal with this traumatic event, having guys talk, constantly, having people come in and talk to us. There was a lot more there than we were dealing with a lot of the same things that everybody else was dealing with, but we were just there, on the practice field, smelling the smoke of the buildings every day, trying to figure out, oh my God, is it really worth being here?
How important do you think it was for you guys as players for Jim to step up in that particular moment to show the leadership that he needed to do? I remember he got the call, I guess, from the government officials, including Giuliani over in New York. Could you guys come over and visit with some of these people during the most trying of times? And Jim led you guys over there to do an appearance, to try to help, to deliver supplies, to deliver handshakes and smiles and moments of thank you. I don't think anybody's ever going to forget that.
I think it was more that, there were a lot of first responders, and I think that beyond the eyesight of what we have or the media, we have people digging and grinding, trying to find people who survived, trying to help anybody they can in this devastating, incredible, disastrous moment. And these guys are there working through. People walked through the tunnels, walked over bridges just to get there to help. And we did such a minimal thing by just going over there. We went out and spent as much money as we could buying, masks and gloves and shields and whatever else they could need. And if they needed extra boots, we bought and brought stuff over. We bought pallets of water and sandwiches. And when we sent as much stuff as possible, a big group of guys went over and delivered as much as they possibly could. But it wasn't what we were doing. That, we were just trying to be, as supportive as possible. We weren't the professionals. They were the professionals at that moment. They were the heroes trying to get it done. And we were just there to try to, make sure they didn't lose hope and lose faith in the moment.
So you guys go through all of those things to try to offer whatever it is you can to help. You don't play that week. You come back and you play in Kansas City. The FDNY hats, the police department hats, the Port Authority hats, and all that emotion in Kansas City. And then, of course, when you had your home opener against the Saints the following weekend, all the emotion there, too, as well. How did Jim try to keep you guys together in terms of your emotions, understanding that, my goodness, it would be so easy and justifiably so, to lose track of what it is that you're doing? Because let's face it, Howard, football's a dangerous game. And if you're overcome with an emotions about other things, you could get hurt.
I think, again, I can't keep saying this, but, having people come in to talk to us was probably the biggest part of it. I don't think that in this day and age of the mental awareness where this is really, we're hypersensitive now to your mental health and your mental state of being. It wasn't as big back then, but to have people coming in and talk to us about counseling and what you're feeling, what you're thinking about, your emotions, it was big. And it wasn't like they came in once. They were there for a while. They came back and forth. Guys got together and talked about it, and Jim recognized that. And Jim was talking to someone probably, I don't know, we all had to figure out. I guess, in short, we all had to figure out, hey, what are we doing and why are we doing it, and enjoying it. I had just had kids. My kids were babies, like a couple months old. So I was freaking out all around, thinking okay, is this even where I want to be? I don't want to put myself in a situation, and but to go out and to try to finish the season to go out and play as hard as you can, and to, like I said, just let everybody know that, hey, look, we are still here. We're still moving. Let's keep moving. Let's pick up and get started as quickly as possible. That's all we could do.
Fans, remember, limited Giants season tickets are on sale now for the 2021 season. In addition to ticket savings, membership benefits include access to exclusive events, experiences, pre-sales, and more. You can lock in your seats starting at just $100. Call 888-NYG-1925 or visit Giants.com tickets for more information. Don't miss out on your chance to experience a premier hospitality experience watching Giants games and world-class concerts in 2021 as a Giants Suite partner. Limited full-season locations are available, or place a deposit for individual games. Call 888-NYG-1925 or visit Giants.com/suites for information. And finally, let's get vaccinated. Go to covid19.nj.gov/vaccine to register. Let's talk about Jim Moore as a football guy. He comes in 1997. Giants are kind of on a rocky road. You're in the middle of your career there. And in 97, in his first season, you guys win the NFC East. It was George Young's last season as the Giants general manager, and you guys wind up being a playoff team. What was the key in your mind to what Jim did to help that turnaround?
Well, he came in and, I think people, understate what it is when a new coach comes in. He came on a brand new system, came in with a brand new energy, and he wanted, to throw the ball up and down the field and to run the ball and pound it. And he enjoyed the defense. He had Foxy in there coaching the defense. I think he had Payton as a coordinator at offense. It just was a lot of energy for what was going on, trying to get guys up and going, and it made it fun. So when you go from, Coach Reeves was a great guy, did a great job coaching, and then all of a sudden we had his bad years falling off. You get a new guy coming in who's energetic, who's excited. This is his opportunity to have a head coaching job. I'm going to do it my way. This is going to be fun. And all that energy kind of rolls over into the players. Guys get excited about playing. Guys get excited about being there. And guys get excited about their roles and what roles they're going to play with the new guy. So it's fun. And all of a sudden, you start having some success, and it looks even better to you. So Jim did a good job of rallying the troops, bringing in a new mindset, making it enjoyable, having fun with it, and he got it done.
I remember when Phil Simms had worked under Jim, when Jim was brought in as a staff assistant to Parcells after the 90 season, although Bill left shortly thereafter and Ray Handley took over. I remember Phil saying he thought that he learned more about quarterbacking from Jim Fassel in those latter stages of his career than he had ever known earlier, and wish he had known more. What was it about Jim as an offensive mind that allowed him to kind of take things cerebrally to the next level?
Well, every year that everything evolves constantly. So Jim comes into the league or comes back, and then at that time for Phil, we were the 3 yards in a cloud of dust team. We were the old school football, right?
Sure.
We were just like ground and pound. Let's get it done. We're gonna suck the life out of the ball and win the game. When Jim comes in, Jim's kind of instituting the air offense. Let's put the ball in the air. Let's score. Let's get big chunks. Let's move the ball. Quarterbacks love that. Quarterbacks love to throw the ball, and rightfully so. So it was basically the changing of an era when Jim finally started to come into the league. When he was coaching with Sims, and when he came back as the head coach, it just continued with that philosophy.
Were there things from when he was an assistant that first time with the Giants that you kind of had an inkling that you might see him again down the line, and it might be at a higher level on the coaching tree?
Yeah, he did have the personality for the head coach. Some guys are just X's and O's. They're sitting around and they're talking, and you kind of enjoy it, but that's what they're doing. They didn't. It's not that they don't have aspirations of being head coaches. I don't think, but Jim had the whole personality part of it, as you could see when he's talking, the way his mannerisms and stuff. And he's like, okay, he's got something. He's excited about this game, and you'll see him again down the road. And every stop that I saw him in, I'm like, okay, he's moving along. It looks like he's going to get there.
Sometime later, he gets to be named the Giants head coach in '97, and of course now his quarterback turns out to be, over the course of time, Kerry Collins, who was a reclamation project, who had some rough times with the Saints and with the Panthers, but Kerry flourished and really took his game to the next level under Jim Fassel. Could you tell us, is there something there that you think Fassel did to help bring out the best in Kerry as well, and your offense? Quite frankly, I mean, look, you guys went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but we had, you had Ike Hilliard, you had Amani Toomer, myself playing in the game. You had Tiki Barber running the ball. You had an offensive line that was a lot better than people would even imagine, and you had a really, really good defense. We had all the makings to bring the team together and to get us to the Super Bowl, and that's what Kerry got into the right situation with the right group of guys that were willing to fight and battle, and when you have guys like that and this high energy coach telling you the whole time, let's get it done, we're going to get it done, and keep fighting. That's kind of what it was. Jim was kind of like and I guess you would say one of those times when the coaches kind of have that, this might be my last year. I got to get it going, but I have a good enough team to turn it around. That's the whole. I'm pushing all my chips to the center of the table. If you will.
Yes.
That's that whole speech, and it's like, hey, look, guys, we're a good enough team to be in this thing. We're a good enough team to get into the playoffs. We're a good enough team to go a long way. But if we don't go, I'm gone. And let me tell you something. If I'm gone, probably going to be a lot of you gone, because if we're a good enough team and you're not doing it, it's not just me not doing it. It's you not doing it. People look at that. People remember that. Let's get it going. So either you're in or you're out. Who's in? Let's go. And people basically showed up.
I remember the pushing the chips to the middle of the table, and this team will make the playoffs. He was very insistent about it in the press conference that week. You guys were 7-2 at the beginning of that season, had some rough losses to the Rams and the Lions at home, and then Jim makes that proclamation, and the whole press room was abuzz. Now, look, it makes for a great soundbite and a great TV clip. Did he talk to you guys about that before he talked to the media? Or were you guys as stunned when that came out in the media as we were when he delivered it to us?
Nah, he had talked to us about it, and he was, that was the mantra of what was going on. That was the big moment that was happening with the team. Like I said, if we were failing, if we had not have made it, I don't think Jim would have made it through the season. We were 7-2, we looked promising, and all of a sudden it just looked bad. And it looked really bad. When you say bad losses, the press was killing, and the press is killing all of us. And maybe this Jim's lost a team kind of conversation. And then all of a sudden Jim's like, that's crazy. Don't read that stuff. We're in this thing together. We won 7 games, guys. We won 7 games. We are in this together. I'm putting it all on the line. I'm going to say it out loud. I'm not hiding from it. Don't you hide from it, basically. It's kind of how it was coming across to us. So, yeah, it was pretty cool.
So you guys go out and you thrash the Cardinals to end the 2-game skid, wind up winning 5 in a row to finish out the regular season to go 12-4. And, was there anything besides the emotional temperature change that he was able to execute in the media, or were there things that you guys did on the field differently during that home stretch?
No, just you have to remember that the Cardinals were in our division back then. That's how far back this is. Yeah. So you're seeing different teams, and like I said, we just had a better offensive line, a better defense. When need be, we could run the ball better than anybody in the league. We could rush for over 220, 250 yards in a game. We could do a lot of different things. I think we had, we had Kerry slinging the ball down the field with Monty, Ike. I think even Mitchell was part of the team, and even Coach Campbell, who's now out at Detroit. I think we had a lot of good players, a lot of talented guys, and we made a lot of plays.
So you guys go 12-4, you go into the playoffs, And then what happens? Oh, my goodness. You take care of the Eagles, and then you wipe out the Vikings 41-0 in the NFC Championship game at Giant Stadium. Howard, look, I've been to many big games. I've been to many places that rocked. That place rocked in that win over Minnesota when you destroyed them right from the opening get-go. How much does that game kind of, come back to you every once in a while? Because it was certainly one of the greatest moments in Meadowlands history.
Well, sometimes when you watch things and what's lost to the public and stuff is you don't really understand like why things happen the way they do. The Vikings were a super explosive team, but they were, Chris Carter tell you, they were a front-running team. They would get out early, score some points, and all of a sudden their defense would rip you apart because you were like dropping back to throw the ball every down. There was nothing you could do to catch up with that, the Randy Moss and Chris Carter duo with Dante Culpepper back there and they're slinging the ball. And you were just in chase mode the whole time. You could never keep up with them. What Coach pointed out to us in film sessions, like, just watch the defense. I'm like, okay, well, we're working on it. Just watch the defense. And we watched clips where, because they were so far ahead that they were just rushing the passer, but the secondary was just like, they weren't even anywhere near the right position. And he showed us like 3 or 4 clips, and he goes like, what are they doing? He goes, yeah, they're getting a sack, but what if they didn't get the sack? What would happen? So it'd be a touchdown. He goes, we could score 100 points on these guys. He literally said that, and I never heard a coach say that in a football practice, in a football meeting. And then he walks in, and Coach Fassel starts smiling and walks out of the room, and we sit there and look at each other like 100 points. And that's kind of like the kind of feeling we had for the entire game when we walked in. The defense was fired up, like, hey, you guys start scoring, they'll never catch a ball, or they'll never make a play. I'm thinking, like, how are you going to stop Randy Moss from making plays? Like, the field was kind of cold back then. I think the field was still frozen, and like they just couldn't handle it. They were an indoor team; they just couldn't handle it. It was freezing. Their defense wasn't prepared in the secondary. We were like torching them left and right. And the crowd was going crazy. And the louder the crowd got, it seemed like the more points we scored. It was just crazy.
I remember Kerry Collins telling us after that game how he remembered in those days it was a fax machine, right? And he remembered getting the game plan from Sean Payton that him and Coach Fassel had designed, coming over his fax machine early in the week, looking at it, understanding that, oh, my God, this game's really going to be on my shoulders because we're going to go out and attack and wing it. So I think the game plan worked pretty well.
Yeah, it was pretty locked down. I think that'll be one of Coach Fassel's greatest moments with the Giants, that game specifically, because it was just all the stuff that could go right, being the last probably big game in the stadium. Everything that could go right went right. It was perfect.
Could you compare and contrast the feelings of what you guys felt at 7-4 after the 2-game skid compared to the feeling of raising the NFC Championship trophy at the end of that Minnesota game? I mean, is there any way you could have imagined, Howard? Maybe you guys knew that you were good enough and you could turn it around, but certainly you were getting beaten up outside the walls of the stadium at that point to then have the ultimate prize in your building that you're going to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think that, again, it's hard because we're that's part of the job. You got to talk to the media. You got to share information. You got to do what we're doing now and talk. But inside the walls is what matters. Do you guys believe in each other? Are you supporting each other? Are you willing to fight for each other? Like what's going on? Like I think a big group of us would go out to dinner every Thursday